Clifford Young joins us now. He's president of U.S. Public Affairs at Ipsos. That's a leading market research firm. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you.
Clifford, your organization, along with Reuters, released a new poll today showing Hillary Clinton up 8 points nationally over Donald Trump. But are we seeing just a post-convention bump, or is this something more lasting?
Well, we don't know exactly at this point, but probably is more lasting. Let's step back a second and talk about the conventions in general. Why do conventions exist? They're to rally the troops, to energize the base. And typically you have bumps, right? On average, you have about a 5-point bump. Trump had a 3-point bump. Clinton had a 7-point bump. The question is, who won that cycle? Who won the convention cycle? And it looks like Hillary. Net, the polls range between 5 and 8 points in terms of a lead for Hillary. And the question is why? What did Donald Trump have to do during the convention? He had to energize the base. Remember, he is an outsider candidate. He's an anti-establishment candidate. And there were doubts within the base. Did he do that? He didn't do a very good job. During the convention itself, there was a lot of confusion, a lot of noise. And after the convention, obviously, the con issue has really undermined him.
Well, I was going to ask you about that because today we have a sitting U.S. president coming out publicly and saying that this candidate was not fit for office, referring to Donald Trump. Has that ever happened before in a U.S. election?
Well, a sitting president coming out and saying that directly, no. But we've had incidents like the Khan family incident in the past. Willie Horton. Who is Willie Horton? Willie Horton was a convicted felon, a rapist, who went to life imprisonment in Massachusetts. He was released on furlough. During the 1988 election, Bush versus Dukakis, Dukakis was a Democrat, obviously Bush was a Republican. 2 years before that, he was the governor. He was the one under his watch that furloughed this rapist and convicted felon. And that became a very symbolic statement about his stance on crime. Crime at the time was the key issue. Who was going to be the law and order president? Who was going to be able to reduce crime? And obviously that symbol, that negative symbol, really undermined Dukakis. And potentially speaking, the Khan issue could have similar impacts.
So are we seeing that in the polls released recently, what Donald Trump is saying about the cons? Are his comments affecting the election? Can we see it change the trajectory of the election?
Well, again, going back to the polls a bit, it's difficult to say because we have this traditional convention bump, but it looks like there's an effect. And I'll step back a bit, not using the polling information, but thinking about the symbolic nature. Trump went after a mother, and went after not only a mother, but a mother of a fallen hero. You combine those two concepts, those two institutions, across party lines, there's universal support for those sorts of institutions, and going after it really undermined him specifically with his base and more generally with the American population.
So we have less than 100 days to go until Americans head to the polls to choose the next president. That still seems like a long time to people, especially when you look at other elections around the world. What can happen between now and then? That's still quite a bit of time.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of time, and he can recover. And he's shown himself during the primaries to be the Teflon candidate. On the flip side, there's a very, very dogged, aggressive campaign on the Clinton side, and they probably will not let this Khan issue go. Obviously, he's scrambling and trying to do damage control. We only will know as it rolls out, but I'm sure the Clinton side, the Democrats, will use it to their advantage.
All right, Clifford Young, as always, we appreciate your time. Thanks so much
for
your input.